Wow, there's so much meat to that question. It's so good. I will start with, in my small hometown, there was a small health food store that started from what I had mentioned with my dad. What is health? What is symptoms? How do people get quote unquote sick? What is the process that's happening? So as I walked into the health food store, I saw that there was new conversations happening. There was a new awareness of taking care of the body, being proactive, versus literally 3 blocks down was a hospital. And that's a different conversation. And I mentioned that I looked into physical therapy, and in that hospital, there are different conversations about the body being scary, being almost afraid of it, and how to manage it. But there was people in the health food store that were talking about ways to start taking care of the body. And I'm not talking about chiropractic. I'm just saying nutrition and food. And then adding to that, what about if we take less medication? What if we could start to exercise and get out in nature? So that started to change my whole perspective on the way I'd grown up, which was very similar, just taking different medications if there was symptoms, and treating the body and almost being a bit afraid of the body and afraid to go to the doctor. And so when I came to Life University in 1994, I was in a very unhealthy relationship, and a series of events landed me to experience that very thought. I landed in the hospital with the virus attacking my heart in intensive care. And in that process, I'm very clear that there was a supernatural, God, whatever you want to call it, healing that happened in the supernatural. But in the natural realm, a series of questions, as the doctor said, your heart is back to normal, your heart has been healed. I was so grateful, but I was taking medication. And now this conversation was coming up saying, wait a second, if my heart is doing well, why am I taking these medications? It doesn't make sense. And when I heard the conversations from the health food store of things I could do to support the healing of my body, now I can start to do things to not rely on chemicals, but to now. So chiropractic, the philosophy, I thought was just going to be an easy A of philosophy. We're just going to talk about philosophy, and we're just going to talk about life. But experientially, it was like, wait a second, this is a new lens to see the world through. And not just throwing medication away and being reckless, but actually getting adjusted to clear my nerve system that controls every system in the body, incorporating the natural laws with nutrition, with water, with sunlight. The very things that we're finding out are actually building the body. We refer to this as more vitalism, or there's something more than chemistry, physics, and biology happening here. And I was breathing life into that and experiencing it for myself and getting off medication and beginning to be very proactive, very intentional, and watching how my body was healing, growing, and thriving. And so I was actually experiencing it and doing it. And so these shifts became not just a lens, not just a philosophy, but actually what BJ Palmer and D-Day, the developer and the founder of chiropractic, they were living, they were playing with these. I think D.D. Palmer was like eating a quart of honey a day, which is a little dicey and a little on the other side, but he was playing with, what's happening in life and trying to find that balance. And so for me, actually experiencing, actually not being reckless, but very intentional and incorporating the laws of nature, getting clear my nerve system, which is like the DSL cable of life between the brain and every cell in the body, and getting everything working together as a team. So experientially that happened for me, but there was a shift that happened slowly over time and in today's society, chiropractors have been saying for years, we don't just treat symptoms. It's like the language of the body. We're listening to these symptoms as a conversation. So instead of numbing our senses, we're trying to make sense of it.
Mm.
So that kind of may start to shed some light to, okay, this is not a reckless, radical philosophy. This is an observation of what's already happening, and we're almost getting in flow of what's happening in life instead of counter current flowing upstream.
Mm-hmm.
And the culture is waking up to that.